Okay, in this we're going to cover some exercises on dominant chains, stuff to practice. This is another form of harmonic upkeep. And just knowing these moves actually will open up a lot of understanding from particular styles that you may be looking at or interested in. And there's a lot of stylistic crossover with stuff with like dominant chains. It can cross over to many different styles. And I need to do a shameless plug here because I actually do cover an enormous amount of dominant chains in my basic chromatic harmony course. Here's the list here. I'm gonna kind of blur it out because what would be the point of trying to sell it? I'm gonna use 2 in here for free. But all kinds of different dominant types, everything from flat 9s to 13th chords, etc. The thing with dominant chains is they always work in a counterclockwise direction. They work really well. Circle the 5th counterclockwise. That's why the arrow's there. So, stuff like... There's just a natural flow to it, and that would be circle the 5th dominant chaining in key. Now, there's also dominant chains that go around the circle of 5ths completely before returning to your starting point. And this is one exercise we'll cover right here in a second, which is included in my course. But first I want to show you a dominant chain, okay, in action. And it's the perfect time to show that because what time of year is it getting close to Christmas? So this is just a dominant chain. F sharp dominant, B dominant, E dominant, A dominant, D dominant. Then the G, and that ends the chain. So it's just circle a 5th dominant chaining. F sharp dominant, B dominant, E dominant, A dominant, D dominant. So this is from a transcription I found on Scribd, where somebody put in the chords. They put in the block chords for you, but this E7 to the A7, this is Louis Armstrong, a transcription of one of his solos, to D9, dominant 9, G7, C. And then again, another dominant chain, A7, D7, G dominant 7 sharp 5, or G augmented flat 7. Still has the same function. So again, using the same kind of material, Tchaikovsky used dominant chains. Louis Armstrong's progression he was soloing over in the transcription is using dominant chains twice in this scenario. So there's a lot of stylistic crossover, and you can make the chords even more complex, but if they're still dominant based, it will still work in that counterclockwise motion. But this is one of the exercises out of my, this is just one of my practice exercises out of my course that goes all the way around the circle of 5ths using just 3-note dominant chords. You don't need the 5th all the time. And we're back at the beginning root, C. And it doesn't matter how you voice this. You could put the 3rd in the bass, go to the 7th of the next chord. I'm not going to cover this because I do cover this in my course. Stuff like that. And you could continuously go around the circle of 5ths. So the next one, that's a freebie I'm giving out, is using dominant 9s to 7ths. Like that, okay? So let me just play through it pretty slow. The thing to notice about these dominant chains is they flow just nicely, as if they were meant to be, one chord's just meant to go to the next. Remember, these usually only work in a counterclockwise way. If you do it clockwise, it doesn't sound as flowing. So again, I'm going to point out in my course, you could actually do stuff like this, and all the way to 13th chords. But all kinds of interesting ways to combine these things. So right there I used quite a few dominant chains with 7s to 9s and whatnot and other extensions. So I would say another reason to learn chromatic harmony, because this is at behind the score, is because not everything is about space and elves, and you're not going to have this kind of like diminished scale music like I did for my diminished scale videos in the same channel. Not everything's going to be this kind of music. You're going to have music that may require you to know how to use chromatic harmony and dominant chains and whatnot. You may be in a completely different style and somebody wants you to emulate like a player piano kind of thing. That relies heavily on chromatic harmony. So just remember, I think the space and the whole elves thing is kind of oversaturated, and that's what everybody always thinks of when they want to do like media composing. But remember, there's thousands of TV shows out there, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of different types of movies that don't even remotely have that sound. So that's a good reason to learn chromatic harmony and practice dominant chains, for instance.